Hello, Internet friends. Quick video today to talk about the Slate drum compressor. What's it called here? It's called not a compressor. It's a gate drums. So I was looking for a gate to handle a specific situation, and this one, I've used it before in more typical situations, but this situation, I had a really long tail, and I'll play it for you here. And I wanted to preserve a lot of the tail, but then kind of decide when it should cut off. So here is the example of the audio. It's fairly quiet. And what you'll notice, that was it. What you'll notice is that these are still ringing a long time after they get hit. So I brought up the Eosis Air EQ just because I like its meters. See this almost tape hiss coming out here? These samples are really ringing out. There's contact, and if I mute contact, it's definitely coming from contact. It's not another plugin with some other tape hiss happening. These are just how long these samples ring out. And it's a very subtle use in this piece, but I don't need all of this low frequency information. I certainly don't need all of this other information to be ringing out for all of the duration of the piece. As the hits get louder, the transients become more important. But I really didn't want all of these long hits just to be sustaining throughout the whole piece like this. And this is LA Modern Percussion, which is a great set of raw percussion samples, but you may need to do what I'm doing and kind of work with them a bit. So I'll move those out of the way and play with what I did with the Slate gate for drums. I just started with a soft, clean kick, which I've modified quite a bit. And we're going to go back to these very soft hits. Let's see. So the detection filters are this first group. So you can watch for a transient and listen to the transient. So I'll click listen. And that's all we hear. It's pretty quiet. I'll turn up the channel so we can maybe hear it a little better. So I adjusted the... I don't really actually know what these numbers do yet. I have to look at the manual. 6 something is what I decided. You can bring the frequency bands. I brought this a little higher. And it really... This decibel threshold piece here I didn't touch yet, but I'm mostly watching this light and listening. Oops, didn't hear the first one. There we go. So you want to hear those two clean ones. If I make it a little bit bigger, then I hear a lot of clicky clacky afterwards. So all of these other transients I don't want. Well, they're not really transients. And if I take it down too far, I can't hear anything. So right in here. That's what I want. Very precise transients. Now we'll take the listen off, and I moved on. I did adjust the range. This essentially is the after the gate closes. It sounded like this was how it could allow a little bit of sound to continue ringing after the gate is closed. That's the way that I was seeing it happen. So if the gate closed now, I could let a little bit of low frequency keep going for a little bit based on this dynamic range. So if this was really high, the gate could close, and now I'm still allowing this many decibels, 33 decibels, to continue ringing. So I think I don't know where I had this. Is this an undo button? Yeah. And then the slope, I went for a completely linear. There's also completely exponential because I wanted it to have a nice linear fall down, and I set it right at 3.5 seconds because that seemed to fit 2, 3.5, and then close. So that felt about right for this piece. And then debleed is on, which means there's a filter, And these filters, what I did was I let about over 1,000 hertz, 978 hertz, kind of stay up here until the gate was closed. If you bring this down, the top part kind of will filter out quicker. I wasn't quite sure how this, but this is only 400 milliseconds-ish, 300 and some. So I'll go back to, let's undo. Because I wanted a little bit of that top end for just about 400, almost half a second. And so those were the settings that I used. And now you can tell the difference between this long ring out, which is still going, and basically creating a whole new tail on this long drum. And you're done. Mostly. And if we go back to the very first one, it still works. This is the quietest 2 hits velocity-wise. So there you go. It's a very precise way to trim the tails off of longer drums. It has plenty of uses in kits when there's lots of other, a whole kit with a lot of other drums. There's plenty of more typical uses for it, but this was specialized use that I didn't have another way to make such precise adjustments to the shape of the tail and even the EQ and the filter of the tail. You could have probably gotten a lot from a regular gate with a 3.5 second tail, but I sort of just wanted to share how this gave you some other options and some other shaping options, dynamic shaping options. All right, enjoy.